PCA Sim Racing continues their longest running, most active racing series. Welcome to Series 13, a special event tonight. We have the entry class at the Daytona Road Course. Hi everybody, I'm Zach Shaggy Chapman alongside Sky Shrek in the booth tonight. The sights and sounds, as always, courtesy of our producer, DJ Lion. Sky, tonight marks the first race in Series 13 for the entry class. What are you feeling?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Daytona Road Course is a great track, and we're just coming off the iRacing Daytona 24, so it's a track that a lot of drivers are going to be pretty familiar with. It's going to be a really good one tonight, as you can see there, the world center of racing, Daytona Speedway.
Yeah, and how excited PCA is this season, bringing on board Princess Cruises as its 2025 title sponsor. Princess Cruises' official vacation partner provides exclusive offers, including world-leading itineraries across the fleet of 16 elegant ships sailing to more than 330 global destinations. Reach out to the PCA concierge team to book your next adventure today by calling 833-679-2188. And well, oh man, it's going to be good. But the Porsche Club of America started in 1955 with 190 charter members. 70 years later, PCA has grown to over, man, you won't believe it, 167,000 members across the United States of America and Canada. 14 zones and 148 regions with thousands of events annually. PCA has big plans for our 70th anniversary, including special events, activities, and announcements. But we're going to dive into a little bit of information here on the drivers. We've got a big interview coming up, but some things I want to talk about. You know, we mentioned this is a beginner series, and well, some drivers are going to have a little designation tag in front of their name, and well, N, that's going to stand for rookie. That means they have an I rating less than 1,000. B, an I rating above 1,000, or no, excuse me, I read that wrong. N is rookie. I skipped. A was with the DC A or B license, but your I rating less than 1,000, and B, an A or B license with an I rating above 1,000. So wide variety of drivers, Sky, but it's a place where you can really learn how to league race and get to know the guys before you move up into the bigger series.
Yeah, damage is off. There's no DQs for incident points in this series. We want drivers to get as much time on the racetrack as they can, learning these cars, learning these tracks, and getting experienced here with league racing and sim racing on iRacing. This is a great spot to do it here, the entry class series in season 13. They're going to have a whole schedule here. It's going to be really fun from Daytona.
Yeah, and speaking of taking a look at getting the track, maybe we have a time to check this Google Earth cam, and you can give us a little overview, Sky. I know we got an important interview coming up, but a lot of drivers, as you mentioned, probably very familiar with the Daytona Road Course, just being we had the 24 hours.
Yeah, it's a very famous track. I think some of the problem spots on this track for these drivers might be turn 1. That's always somewhere to watch at Daytona. Same with the little horseshoes, turn 3. Always a bit difficult here getting the power down off the corner. And that backstretch chicane, really interesting, that corner, trying to make moves through there. You can either try to send it down on the inside. You can try to make something happen on the outside. A lot of interesting corners here, and a lot of corners that I think are really fun in this car. It's a good car track combo for sure.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, they're back in the bus stop. I mean, that's where you're going to make or break. You're going to lose a lot of time back there. You're going to gain a lot of time. You got to be able to nail that exit. But I think, if I'm not mistaken here, we got an interview coming up with the entry and talent class manager. His name's Jeff Williams. Believe he just hopped up here with him. Jeff, Shaggy up here in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do, Brad. Is that Brad? We got the name right?
Well, it's Zach, but you can call me whatever you want. It's my pleasure to be here. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, good, Zach. And appreciate you guys from V-Speed being here tonight, too. Thank you very much.
Well, very excited, Jeff. And well, I have a lot of questions. You know, I mean, you guys do a great job of explaining everything on your website. lay it out very well. But, with these different tags we have in the entry series, are we going to be running all 1 point series, or are we designating 3 different points classes?
Yeah, so within the entry class, we actually have 2 separate points that we track. The end drivers are novices. They've got a rookie license in iRacing, and they get grouped in with our A group drivers, and those folks have a C or D license, and they're running for 1 championship, 1 trophy set. And then our B class drivers, who are more experienced drivers, just coming into PCA sim racing with us, but they may have a lot of experience that they come in with. They run for a separate set of trophies, if that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. I honestly would have assumed they were all running for 1, but that's pretty neat. And then it gives drivers, a little chance to race amongst their own class and kind of deal with the other ones and learn, how to deal with people that you're not racing with. It's good experience, and I think you're going to do a good job teaching people. But I think Sky's got a question for you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sky. This is the, entry class series. It's a place where drivers learn to race. So tell us kind of how this series came about and how it formed to help these newer drivers.
Yeah, well, sure, glad to. We formed entry class a couple of years ago to be basically a place where drivers new to sim racing can come in and learn how to sim race, because this is something that sets us apart from the public forums in iRacing or the other leagues, is that you actually can come in here and learn to sim race with us. Now, entry class is the portal that everybody who wants to come in and race within PCA sim racing comes through, regardless of their level of experience. We've got novices who just bought their iRacing subscription last month, and they're in here with a rookie license. And we've got people who come through entry class, spend time with us, 5,000, 8,000 plus iRatings. They've been racing for 5 years, 10 years, but they all come through this portal. And here in entry class, this actually has the most varied amount of pace, because you're going to see our N drivers racing against our B class drivers against here. They're all on track together, learning how to live together and navigate the track together.
How do you go about reaching out to get new members, Jeff? I mean, what's the main way you go about it? I mean, has Facebook been a big help? Has in-person joining been a big help? How do you go about getting a lot of new members?
Yeah, the primary method is through PCA National, PCA.org. We have outreach there in terms of advertisements and, some stuff we put out that way. And word of mouth that happens through, a lot of us, when we're out with our local regions doing our autocrosses or HBDEs, we're speaking up sim racing, talking it up, and we get people who hear about it from word of mouth through there and join into PCA sim racing that way. You do need to be a PCA member. Basically, you need to own a Porsche or be a co-member, or you can be a test drive member to be able to race with us. But that's how people get into this.
Oh, very neat. I've got a friend in Arizona who's going to love to hear that. He's a Porsche owner. He's going to be very excited. I'm going to have to reach out to him. Yeah. That's very, very cool.
All right, so how do these drivers move up from the entry class to the other series offered by PCA Sim Racing once they're done here?
Yeah, well, so it comes through a set of prerequisites that they spend time with us once they do an onboarding session that is sort of a big 90-minute briefing. Bring them in through that. They come and spend time with us doing prerequisites before they ask for a check ride. And during those prerequisites, they're in EDEs with us, and can't do that without our instructors. And I really do want to do a shout out to our lead instructor, Mike Patterson, Anker Bergson, Rob Neville, Joachim Bacher, Rex Jarwala, and Richard Woodruff for all the effort they put in training these guys up. But ultimately, they get a check ride. And out of that check ride, we compare their race data with the main league classes to give them the best fit. We'll drop them into the main league class that is most commensurate with their current level of pace and racecraft. And it just makes great racing for people. We do a survey. 84% of people in our last survey said they felt they were in the correct class in the main league, which speaks to how this program works.
Well, Jeff, I think I speak for everybody here at V-Speed that we're excited to be here, and really thank you for letting us come on board. It sounds like an exciting event, and the way you guys dive in with the technology to use the telemetry to class people out, I think that's innovative. And once other leagues start hearing this, I think that may catch on. Jeff, look forward to tonight. And once again, thanks for having us.
Yeah, and thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. Have a good time, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Jeff. But Sky, pretty innovative there. That was a good answer to your question. Using the tech to diagnose the classes. I mean, I've used telemetry myself to try to pick up time with some teammates, but use it to break down and diagnose the classes. That seems the way to go. Surprised other leagues don't do that.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty nice system for these drivers to help them advance in the PCA, move up through the ranks once they're done racing in the entry class here right now. We're looking at qualifying right now. Fastest cars so far is going to be Sylvester Connie right there in that 14 car, one of the A-class drivers on pole tonight. Ryan Reyes just ran a great lap, jumped himself up to third. We've got 4 minutes left in qualifying right now, so a lot of drivers still yet to get their final laps in, but some drivers already showing some pretty early speed.
Yeah, definitely, and we're seeing a wide variety kind of that Jeff talked about. I mean, if you look back to P21 right now, minute 50, and you look at the pole, 144 as Todd Bellows comes in hot right there. That's a good time. So we're going to see guys have to dive around, really use that brake pedal, race smart, and make sure you get to the end of this hour-long show.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. I think we might see a little bit of a race of attrition because it is an hour long, no cautions, damage is off. Could be really easy to just, have a little spin, not take yourself out of the race, but set yourself back on the racetrack, and it might make it a little harder for you to catch up to some of the guys further up. It's going to be, like Jeff said, a really varied field tonight, and I think that might make for some fun action, especially through the start and at the finish of this race.
And Sky, it's been a while since I've run one of these Porsches, but you got to wonder, will guys think about not taking tires tonight, or on the other hand, take tires here when they have to go down for that pit stop? Because only an hour long, you'd think the majority of drivers could make one set of rubber stay, but maybe you're looking for that little bit extra grip. You're sliding around out there and you need it.
Yeah, these drivers probably aren't going to be able to make it on fuel, so I think the tires are probably going to come into play. You do get unlimited tire sets in this race, so it wouldn't hurt if you're putting fuel in the car to just come down, put 4 tires on it, and take it back out. See what you can do from there.
Yeah, I know. When I was running this weekend, I think you'd save about 11 seconds if you just went gas only and didn't put tires on the car. That's kind of what I was referring to. Maybe there's a close battle. Somebody decides to just stay out there on the same set, but only time's going to tell. And if you're out there battling hard, I think you're going to want all the rubber you could get. And if the tires are free, Sky, why not take them?
Yeah, you're seeing a couple of drivers right now make their qualifying laps. This corner that they're going down into right now, I think they're going to actually stop the car here, but this is turn 1, and this is probably the most difficult corner on the racetrack in this car to hit. It's so difficult to get that car down to the apex and carry good speed off without either running it too wide and clipping the grass or just spinning it out entirely. Really tricky corner that these drivers are going to have to learn how to navigate at Daytona. The kind of re-entry onto the banking and the back chicane are a couple action spots that I'm watching tonight for some fun racing to happen.
Yeah, turn 1 definitely going to be hot. I mean, you're going to see guys trying to enter in wide and swoop down to the apex, and you're going to see guys try to barrel down in and maybe hit that apex a little too fast, but they're hitting the center of the corner, and it's gonna conflict here when you got guys pack racing here early on. So I expect here when qualifying comes to a close and we get ready to line them up, they're going to be relaxed here going into turn 1.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy lap 1. I mean, it is an hour-long race. You've got a lot of time to make your moves, do what you need to do to get to the front. You've got time. You don't need to go for it all immediately in one corner. You can win a race, or you can lose a race in the first corner, but you certainly cannot win it.
For sure. 30 seconds here left. Most drivers, I'm looking around, we've got the 102 rolling around there. We got the 24, currently P9, Dennis Lynn, rolling through the bus stop right now. He looks pretty good. That 24, I like the paint job on that. If we could get our camera guy to throw that up, I'm a fan of that thing.
I see what you're talking about. Pretty nice black, orange, blue kind of Porsche livery there. That's a nice one.
Yeah, if he finishes on this podium tonight, I'm going to have to find out who painted that thing.
All right, well, qualifying just wrapping up right now, and we're going to get going for our grid tonight here shortly as these drivers move into the warm-up. And once we get that up there for you, we'll be able to tell you our starting lineup for tonight's race.
And like we were talking about, hour long here, so I'm sure as drivers go through this warm-up, we may see them grouped together, but actually a lot of them are pulling out kind of separate. I thought maybe we'd get a practice here. Maybe a little warm-up start, guys roll around together.
Yeah, you get a 5-minute warm-up here for these guys. You know, make any last changes, it is open setup, so that's how you'll find out maybe something about your car here in these last 5 minutes.
Well, let's do a rundown here. The starting lineup, Sky, on the inside of row number 1, starting on the pole in the 515, Todd Bellows. And to his outside, Sylvester Canny. Row number 2 on the inside, Z Wang. And to his outside, Ryan Reyes. Row number 3 on the inside in the 5, starting P5, in the 36, Kevin Orr. And to his outside in the 25, Matt Robinson. Row number 4 to the inside, the 28 of Donald Manning. And to his outside in the 80, Jonathan Cure. Dennis Lynn takes the number 24 and lines up on the inside of row number 5, and to his outside in the double nickel, Nick Francis.
Looking back outside your top 10 here, number 11, or starting 11 tonight, the number 64 is going to be Dave Jones. Brad Dunn in the 241 outside of row 6. Row 7 tonight's going to be John Tabbs in the 102. Neil Faulkner starts 14th in the 54 car. Looking back towards row 8, you get our first N-Class driver, Joe Klutz, rolls off 15th with John Kaplan in 16th. Row 9 tonight's going to be Ben Whitehurst in the 970, rolling off 17th, and Robert Baines in the 51, rolling off 18th. And rounding out our top 20 tonight, it's going to be John Chimples in the 357, rolling off 19th, and Keith Markison in 20th.
Alrighty, inside of row number 11 in the 267, David Sauntry, and to his outside in the double 1, Chuck Allendale. Row number 12, the 20 of Evan Cole to the inside, and to his outside, Patrick Aguirre, or Steve Schneider, excuse me. iRacing has them listed a little different. I was cheating looking on the other page. But rounding out the field, Patrick Aguirre in the 981 in the Bucky's scheme. Oh, wow.
I was going to say, I like that paint scheme.
And guys, not only take their racing serious, but 100% guys, some of the best paint jobs I've seen in a GT3 league. They look really good. They put time into this.
Some of these cars are pretty good. You got the bright yellow Simagic car right there. That's the 102 at John Tabbs rolling around for his warm-up laps. A lot of really nice cars out here. You'll see more of them tonight as we go through the main event. Number 14 right there looking on board. That's Sylvester Connie as a spin out of the tri-oval. Keith Markison around. A couple cars with some really nice paint jobs.
Let's see, I believe Dennis Lynn was the car that I was raving about in qualifying. And the 24, I mean, look at that thing. If you don't love that, I just don't know if we could be friends. That is absolutely beautiful.
It's a really nice kind of color combo there with the blue and the orange for sure. That's one of my favorites on the field. A lot of cars with really nice ones doing warm-ups right now. I am very impartial to the Bucky's paint job as well.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be? But being up from the Northeast, I have never had the luxury of actually being to a Bucky's. Bucky's. I sadly have to admit, I've only gotten to see cool videos from YouTube and stuff like that, but oh man, the experience must be out of this world.
Yeah, I lived in Texas for about 10 years, so if you're ever down here, I'm kidnapping you and you're going to Bucky's.
I don't know if you'll have to kidnap me. You might have to kidnap me to get out. But running out of time here in warm-up, so hopefully drivers have figured it out. Sky under that 10-second mark. We're going to see a Cars start to pull over or disappear, and we're gonna get ready to go play here. The beautiful sunset. I don't see any planes taking off right now. Got a buddy who's a pilot. I'll see if I can message him, see if we can get some planes flying in the background tonight.
A little bit of ambiance, mood, plane engine rumble.
Makes you want to go fishing, looking at that pond right there.
We're getting ready here with the grid, or the cars are gridding up right now on the back straightaway. They're gonna run through the chicane down onto the front stretch, and then the pace car will pull off, and we will be going for the green flag for 1 hour of the Porsche Club of America entry class race at Daytona.
And now, Sky, you know, this may sound a little mean, but this may be the most hectic part of lap number 1. The cars really aren't up to speed yet, and when you're trying to maneuver 2 by 2 through this bus stop, they may not be fun. So they may single file out and go through here, because steering these things at a slow speed, you know, they're meant to go fast. They don't handle that well at pace speed.
Yeah, I think what's going to be really interesting is the first couple corners, particularly going down into the first hairpin. Can get a little sketchy on cold tires in this car. That's something these drivers are going to want to watch out for. Make sure they don't slide it too much, trying to warm that rubber up on these early laps.
See there, the cars start to roll away, and you see that hour timer start here once we go under the starter stand. Plenty of time here. You got to think we're looking at least, I'd say, 34, 35 laps based off their times. Pretty close. So drivers want to get to probably at least lap 19 or 20 to feel comfortable before they come in and do that fuel stop. But if you look out of that windshield and you see a lot of slower guys up the road, maybe you decide to come in and pit earlier just to save that time on track. It's going to be a lot of decisions made here, and you got to make sure you don't come out here looking like a lame duck here week number 1. You don't want to be on the back foot.
No, at quick math here dictates we're probably going to get around 34, 35 laps in this race. As it was mentioned earlier, no incident point DQs, no damage. We want these drivers on the track. We want them racing, and we want them learning.
Well, as you take a look, the pace car dives off. Sky, the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We got an hour to play here at the beach as the Porsches drive off. We dive off into turn 1. Side by side, drivers behaving pretty well here. You're seeing good gaps for them, but still some side by side racing here as they come up through the S's.
Starting to single file out up front, but it's still a big pack further back. Battle further up the field. This is for third right now. That's Z Wang looking up the inside of Ryan Reyes. Car wide, further back, contact. 24 around, along with, I believe it's Dennis Lin, and it's one other car getting heavy damage there.
The commentator's curse, Sky. I said I like the paint job. Anybody Shaggy picks or likes, I'm telling you, the heavens rain down on him. I got to keep my mouth shut here for the rest of this thing. That ain't good.
It was Dennis Lin around back there with contact from Donald Manning, and the 28 is what started that. Manning just a little wide, clipped the grass across the track into Lin. That is what started that accident. Lin drives it away. Manning a little slow. As mentioned, no damage in these cars, so they'll both still be at full speed.
Yeah, you know, as a driver, you don't want to do it, but when Manning, you float out over those strips there coming out of turn 2, you need to be out of that throttle. If you're hammering it down, you're going to lose that rear end, and that's what happens. But this is why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to practice. We're here to get laps in, and with no damage, you loop that thing around and you go right back to town.
Yeah, right here is the 36 car of Kevin Orr. Looking at that car as it makes its way through the oval turns 3 and 4. That last big section of banking before you come back across the start-finish line here. Currently running 6, slotted in between Nick Francis behind and Jonathan Kuo in front. And they'll head down into turn 1. First time at full speed for these cars into this corner. We'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, and I thought Nick Francis was going to get aggressive there, but decided best of it, went high, dropped in line, realized, hey, got a long way to go. But this front three, they're making their way up the road here. You don't want to be too careful. Oh, has he got a car around?
That is Joe Klutz around into the infield off the nose of Chuck Allendorf. That was the battle for 13th when that happened.
Oh, and an aggressive track re-entry there, Sky. That was really close.
Oh boy, this is the 6 car right here. This is Joe Klutz. He's gonna come in. This is off the nose of this 11 car. Ooh, tough to say there from that angle who really started that. Klutz is gonna come onto the track here with an aggressive rejoin, and I think it might have been Keith Markison in the 76 back here. Just catching, it was the 981 is who that was. That was Patrick Aguirre.
Bucky's.
Just barely catching that. That was the Bucky's car.
Oh, man. Hands of the race so far. I don't know how he kept that thing out of the rear end. He may need a new pair of pants from Bucky's after this one. Maybe they'll hook him up. Hopefully they're in the mail.
Yeah, you can get ones there. You got Bucky the Beaver all over them. Nice and cozy pajama pants.
Looking out front. Those front three, they're looking pretty good here. They're developing quite the gap. And what's interesting, we were talking earlier to Jeff, the different classes. Well, Wang, he's a B driver. He's showing he can hang with those front two and actually making up a little ground here. Might take a peek here at second as we dive off in. He's looking, gonna fall back in line.
Yeah, Wang is our first B-class driver of the race. Bellows and Connie in front of that 521 car are both A-class drivers, so it's Z driving that 521 car. First B-class driver, first driver above 1,000 I rating out here tonight.
And doing a good job just pacing himself, falling in line and trying to look. We have had a couple people really move their way on up, Sky. Chuck Allendorf started back 22nd, up to 13th already here in a short amount of time. And the long way to go. You got to wonder, how high can he get running this well?
Yeah, a couple cars moving big spots. Not only Chuck Allendorf up 9 from the start. John Kaplan in that 2 machine up 7 spots to 9th. Neil Faulkner's from 14th to 8th. And David Sauntery up 21st to 15th. So some guys getting some moves done in this first 5 minutes of the race to move themselves up through the field. As the cars start to spread out a little bit as we head into lap 3 or 4 here.
Car off hard in the bus stop. Man, oh man, Brad Dunn, if we could go take a look at that. Not sure, it looked like he lost the rear end on entry, but he's able to loop it around, nobody coming, rejoin safe right around that Bucky's machine. But it's looking like here he's coming down the backstretch in that 241. Plenty of time here. Corner sneaks up on him, gets in the brakes maybe a little too hard, Sky. And when you do that, the rear end will lift up, and you see it loose right around. Yeah,
just a little bit loose there, and it's really easy to lose it. Lucky for Brad, no damage in this series, as mentioned, so he can get it right back on the track, keep going. Oh, this is further up. This is the 51 car, Robert Baines, getting aggressive with the rear bumper at David Sauntery going through turn 1. Both cars okay, still driving, and Baines is going to have to re-rack to try to get the move done for 13th.
Yeah, you see, let that developed a bit of a gap after that. Maybe I felt bad, probably didn't mean to do that. Sometimes it can get away from you, but now you see, he looks up in that rearview mirror, he's got a car right behind him, so you got to put the head down and got to go back to work, try to find a way back around.
For sure. Falling a little bit closer to Ben Whitehurst behind. That gap behind him is down under half a second right now. Whitehurst and John Tabbs quickly closing the gap, and it's a big lunge there for that 15 car. Not quite able to get anything, and he'll stay behind him for now.
Jumping around here, let's take a look here. Ryan Reyes here, right now running around 19th. Didn't have the best start. I believe he was involved in that early loop, but coming up on the Bucky's machine here, trying to make his way back up to the front. Will we see a move going into the bus stop. Looks like he's going to take a peek and think about it. Big send side by side. Well, the Buc-ee's machine cuts through the grass. They live to fight another day.
Yeah, now the Buc-ee's machine's going to give up some spots because here comes Joe Klutz to the inside of that car and a couple others making moves through on the bottom. Big slowdown for that car. Donald Manning in the 28 also going to get around, and now it's these two who are going to be in pursuit of Reyes. We're side by side a little further up. This is Baines still trying to get the move done. Now it's on Whitehurst. He'll dive up the inside. We'll go side by side exiting turn 1, and Baines has got the spot back down through the S's.
Yeah, he shut the door there on Whitehurst. Whitehurst thought best of it, got on the binders, but man, oh man, Baines, he's got that pink machine rolling. If you're gonna drive a hot pink car, you know, you're trying to make a statement, you gotta get that thing to the front.
For sure, definitely an eye-catching paint scheme there. He's got a pretty decent gap in front of him, 1.7 to that David Sautry in the 267 car. Here's a move further back. We're looking at, I believe this is about 3 cars back here. There should be Brad Dunn in this battle. This is for 17th and 18th right now. Dunn in front. It is Ryan Reyes behind. We'll see how this one shakes out.
Yeah, and I don't know how easy it would be here for our director to go find, but last turn 1, lap number 5, Todd Bellows drives a little hot in turn 1, and well, we got a new leader. Z out front. The B-class driver swoops to the inside, and man, oh man, looking to make a statement here early.
Great drive for Z Wong, getting 1 second ahead of Sylvester County back there in second. These two have opened up a really big lead, 5.7 seconds to Jonathan Kuo, who's in third. Kevin Orr currently runs fourth, and Todd Bellows back in fifth right now in that 515 car. Nick Francis, Neil Faulkner, Matt Robinson, John Kaplan, and Dave Jones round out your top 10.
And it looks like here we are. We're able to find that. As you see, they're coming down the front stretch right now. Going to be a long way. They're getting a little defensive here, getting racy. You see Z back in third place, just minding his own business. He's going to go out wide. Bellows tries to cut back underneath, clips the grass, gets into the side of him, and Z goes to the front. And just like that, new leader.
Yeah, just taking advantage of some
Todd Bellows, sorry to interrupt you here, Sky. Todd loops it again here, coming to the backstretch, and man, oh man, when it rains, it pours. You find yourself up front, battling for the lead, Sky. You loop it twice in a matter of 2-3 minutes. What goes through your head? How do you get back in that mindset?
I just gotta lock in, you know, especially after those spins and kind of damage your tires, make them a little slippier. So he's really got to lock in, make sure he doesn't spin it around again, make sure he doesn't have any debris on those tires that would hurt his speed. Just got to get back in the saddle, cool his head, try to work forwards. He's got 49 minutes to do so.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, as much as we've talked about it, you're racing yourself. I mean, you're out there on the track for an hour. You may see other cars out there every now and then, but it's you against the track, and got to put your head down, like you were talking about. Let the tires cool off. Just go back to work and let it come to you. And all of a sudden, those real small ants in front are going to start looking like elephants.
Yeah, he's got the speed, we know, to keep it up there. He was leading the race for a while. He's just got to make the passes. Oh, car around through the S's. That is the 24 machine. That is Dennis Lynn. He's being shown in the wrong spot on the ticker because he's kind of cut the entire corner here. This is racing with the 64 at Dave Jones, and I'm not sure if there was contact. I think he might have just got a little loose.
Yeah, trying to take a look at this here myself. I think it was looking at it, it may have been a little net code. You know, they did allow room for each other, but one of the wonders of online racing, Sky, we all have internet, and sometimes they don't all agree with each other. You think you're giving your friend enough room, and just like that, a hand reaches out and bites them.
Yeah, it can definitely happen in these cars. Seen it happen, I guess, once this race, but especially with drivers racing all over the world like they do in the PCA. You can maybe have those issues sometimes where iRacing servers just don't like you. This is for 6th. Matt Robinson's made a move up the inside, and Neil Faulkner, another B-class driver, moving up through the field there. He's in P6.
Yeah, mimicking the Batmobile there in the all-black scheme, just trying to sneak through the field. If he could somehow turn his headlights off, you know, that paint job might work a little better for him.
It'd certainly be more threatening, but I think it would also be maybe a little more dangerous for the cars around him.
That is for sure. Looking around, let's see. David Santry, he's still on the move up P12 right now in that 267. But some other people we haven't talked about. Let's look at that yellow jacket. I always loved the all yellow scheme, the taxi and the 102. John Taz. He's running around right now, putting in good, consistent lap times. He's been around the 148s pretty much the whole event. There's another one, a 148.6. And this is what it's about, Sky. Consistency. That's how you get better, and we're seeing it out of John tonight.
Yeah, you just got to not make mistakes. Another one of the B-class drivers out here has ran a pretty clean race. Had some moments early, but he's gotten it locked down, and he's held it in 13th. He's just gotten faster as he goes, too. Fastest 2 laps of the race for him were his last 2 laps. If he can keep improving, I think he'll be moving up the field in short order.
Yeah, Joe Klutz, he's straightening that machine back out in the number 6. He got into it with the Buc-ee's machine. You see a little further up the road, but man, oh man. Guys, not playing very nice, Guy. Maybe they need a little help. We still got 46 minutes left. You don't want any enemies out there. Long way to go.
Yeah, a lot of time left in this race. 45 minutes to make your moves, gain your time. We're looking a little closer here at the battle for 3rd. This is going to be Jonathan Kuo in front, Kevin Orr in that red, white, and blue car right behind him. Fastest lap of the race was just ran by Z Wong in 1st, so he's starting to pull away while this battle rages for 3rd and 4th behind him.
Yeah, and you know, I know everybody's got to make that pit stop, but is there any thought here? If you're Kevin, you know, maybe you think, hey, I've got the pace. I just can't find a way around. When they hit that lap threshold, is there any thought about diving down pit road early, Sky, or do you want to run that thing out of gas and drive it around low on weight?
I think you could justify running it about, I'd say, half of the race, come down around, 30 minutes into the session, split it in 2. I think you can make a case for that, and I think you can make a case for just running it all the way out.
Yeah, I think I'm in the run it all the way out camp if I can do it. Maybe get to that 35, 40-minute marker if the tank will allow it. And then just come in, top it off. If you like the feel of the car, you always want less weight. I know it doesn't seem like it, but take a couple milk jugs out of the trunk and you pick up a lot of speed around the straightaways here at Daytona.
Yeah, you can go really quick here, especially down those big straightaways. This is going almost side by side further back here. This is going to be the battle, I believe it is for 17th and 18th. This is Ryan Reyes, or it's Ben Whitehurst in front, then it's Ryan Reyes, and then I was looking at Patrick Aguirre behind, who had a shot, but has kind of fallen off as Ryan Reyes has gotten a lot closer to the 16 of Ryan Reyes has gotten a lot closer to Ben Whitehurst, and is going to run him side by side back out onto the oval.
Yeah, he got to know Ben real well through that last corner right up behind him. And, well, Ben does the smart thing. Why fight that off? Just kind of crack that throttle here. He'll fall back in line. And you got a chance to go back at him. Do it here after the bus stop. You don't want to run side by side. And guys dive in single file. But, man, Ryan, he has got some pace. Look at him looking on the back of Robert Baines. He was quick through the bus stop.
He's making up some time for sure, and he's looking one spot ahead of him here at Baines in that all-pink car, like you said. Very eye-catching paint scheme here. 43 minutes to go. He's going to have some draft coming down this front straightaway. He's going to do a little bump drafting into the bumper of that 51 car. Take a quick peek to the outside. We'll see if he can get this done. Gonna go a little wide. Can't get it done. Still trying around the outside. Oh, he's really loose. He has to get off the throttle, and he'll stay 15th for now.
You're allowed that one move under braking, and boy, oh, big send here.
Oh,
Oh, Sky.
Ryan Reyes went for it, didn't work. He ended up in the grass, but he absolutely tried it there. And while he was doing that, Ryan Reyes was able to take advantage of a panicked Robert Baines to put that car through for 14th. That was a maneuver right there.
Yeah, it was. Not the way Ryan thought he'd get that, but I'm sure he'll take it no matter what. He was struggling to get around, and now you see, since he's around that Pepto-Bismol looking machine, the indigestion has passed, and he is pulling away.
That was a scary moment for sure with a couple cars there. This is further up. Matt Robinson's caught up to the rear bumper and Nick Francis in that 55 car. He'll be looking on the outside heading across the start-finish line here. See if he can do anything down into turn 1. He'll run it a little wider all the way over that white line. Will it give him a better run out of the corner? Yes. Big move on the outside for Matt Robinson.
Yeah, if you're willing to go out there and you can make it plant and stick on the outside of one, the guy on the inside we've seen, I mean, if we just watched a guy get turned into the grass. You don't want to be that guy on the inside. If the guy makes it stick, just let out of the throttle like we saw Nick Francis do. And now Matt Robinson, he's off to the races.
Couple battles taking place on track right now. Kuo started to get away from Orr in that third position. He's opening that gap up a little bit. It was down under half a second. He's pulled it back up to approximately 1 second right now. Also the battle back there for 16th with Patrick Aguirre, who is trying to catch up to Robert Baines. He's got that car within half a second. Dave Jones rapidly approaching John Kaplan for 9th. Couple good battles going on all over the track right now.
This definitely, I believe, as I just looking at, I clicked off of it. Let me find me here. I'm having a pause. It was Don Manning. Yeah, actually, what threw me off is I thought he was in 12th. He's moved on up to 11th. Scott, we saw that car spin around earlier, already almost up back into the top 10. That 28 car, that thing's got some pace.
Yeah, when you have that speed, you can take advantage of that to really move yourself up through the field. Manning, one of our A-class drivers, so one of our newer drivers to iRacing. He's running one spot ahead of David Santry in the novice class there, back there in the 267. All these guys are racing for their own points, their own championships right now. So Santry is, I believe, the highest up novice class driver, which will be pretty good for him. Manning still running behind a lot of other A-class drivers.
Ooh, Neil Faulkner goes around in turn 1 and at an awkward spot, he's just able to get that thing rolling. Gets involved with some contact with Todd Bellows again, and man, Todd's name's come up a couple times here tonight.
Yeah, we've seen him around a couple times. This is not him around, it's Neil Faulkner around, and it is a very similar move to the one he tried earlier. Huge send up the inside into turn 1, making contact with the rear bumper of the driver right in front of him. That is going to hurt Neil Faulkner, who will drop back to 10th on the race.
You see the Bucky's machine got his head down. Gets in the brakes a little early, though, and now all of a sudden may become bait here. Look up in the mirror. That white car is getting pretty big.
That's Whitehurst in the 970 making some moves. He was a little higher up a couple laps ago. He's fallen back. He's trying to get back on the attack to put himself back in the top 15 as Baines, Aguirre, and Whitehurst all go at it. Ryan Reyes has absolutely ditched this pack. He's pulled a 10-second lead out, and now Baines looked a little to the inside there. Looked like Aguirre might be able to get something going, but it doesn't work out.
Yeah, Baines definitely driving defensive here, and thought maybe that would make him pay a little bit going down here across the backstretch, but still able to get a good run out of that left-hander and almost pull away even with the draft. Impressive run. He's showing it may only be P15, but he needs the points. He's going to run hard here as we come up on the halfway point. We're only about 3 or 4 laps away from it, Scott.
Yeah, 38 minutes to go, 22 in the books. This is that battle I was referencing further up. This is Kaplan in that 2-car and Dave Jones behind him in the 64. Jones is going to get a little to the inside there off the corner, but it's going to really hurt his run. Yeah, he got out of shape, loose out of turn 3, and that is going to allow Kaplan to get away and open up a 1-second gap.
Yeah, it's not real easy to see, but if you take the inside too far to the right there, little bump coming out of that, and it's really going to unsettle the car. That's why you see the majority of drivers like John did that previous. You just float out as close as you can to that outside rumble strip. Really let the car use it up. And you're seeing drivers do that, and that's a good way to defend. And now Dave, he's going to have to figure something out here. Too big of a gap, even with some draft, to even think about making a move.
Yeah, this is Ryan Reyes we're watching right now. Another one of our B-class drivers. He is, I believe, our third highest B-class driver tonight behind Z Wong and Matt Robinson, running 4th and 5th right now. So it's a pretty big gap. It's about, I'd say, 35 seconds to the next car he would pass to gain points in that B-class championship. But right now he's running pretty good in this race, and he's holding off John Tabbs, who is the next B-class driver behind him.
Taking a look there, I believe that's for 3rd place. Kevin Orr was still trying to go to work. He's just been stuck in line, and this is where, as you come to that point, you want to make sure you're either pitting a lap before or a lap after. If you, Kevin, you got to roll the dice. You've been stuck in line. You got to find a way to move up into the podium spot.
Yeah, Orr has done pretty well. He started 5th. He's running 4th. He's kept it pretty steady. Jonathan Kuo started further back. He started in 8th, but he gained a lot of positions just in the first few laps alone, and that was what was able to get him to 3rd, where he's kind of hung out ever since. One of those drivers who gained a lot of spots, taking advantage of some early race chaos, and has just run smooth, consistent laps since then to keep himself up front.
Taking a look at that yellow jacket there rolling around. What kind of run can he get in through the bus stop? Needs a good one. Doesn't want Orr to close here coming out. He gets really close to that grass, man. Those guys are really flirting with those incident points. That's taking it close.
Yeah, luckily for them, there is no incident point DQ limit tonight, so you can rack up as many as you want and it won't hurt you. What will hurt you is if you cut that corner enough, iRacing will give you a 1 or 2 second slowdown penalty, and that can be the difference in a position. If that happened to Kuo, he'd probably have to drop behind Kevin Orr.
Now, you know, Sky, I know it shouldn't be part of the talk, but let's do it. What's your strategy on that? If you get the slowdown, do you do it right away, or do you drive for a little bit and maybe try to coast into the braking zone early? What's your strategy when you have to deal with that penalty?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a very bad road course racer, and the last time I ran an endurance race at a track like this, I figured out we could intentionally cut the chicane and just the time would go away naturally because of the way iRacing was set up. So I blew the chicane on purpose every lap.
I respect the honesty. I respect it. I blew it in the 24 sometimes this year, but it was totally by accident, and the car paid for it. It's another story for another day.
Still watching this battle. This is still Kuo and Orr. They're going to navigate a lap car there. A little further up ahead of him, now behind him, that is going to be John Chimples going 1 lap down in this race to Z Wong, and now going 1 lap down to Kuo and Orr as well. One of a couple drivers who have gone a lap down in this race, the other ones being Keith Markison, Dennis Lynn, and Evan Cole, all also 1 lap down.
Yeah, you know, I've had the pleasure of going a lap down plenty of times, and you got to find the enjoyment out of it, Sky. You get a chance here. He gets to follow those guys for a couple laps, and you really get to learn where they push the limits, maybe where you're taking it a little too easy, or you're trying to go a little bit too hard. And you know what they always say, road course racing, in like a lamb, out like a lion. A lot of people's faults at road course racing, just trying to drive it in a little bit too deep. You'd be surprised, you back the corner up, you can gain a lot of time.
Speaking of backing the corner up, that's exactly what the 36 of Orr tried to do there, but he got a little loose. Didn't quite get the exit he would have wanted, He's been able to use that draft to get really close to the bumper of the car in front of him, and so has John Tabbs back there in 14th. Nothing doing there. This is Z Wong making his way through more lap traffic right now. He is going to put the car of Chuck Allendorf in that 11 one lap down.
Yeah, 6.5 seconds up the road right now, Sky. 6.7, now 6.8 here. He had an amazing exit onto the backstretch. And looky, a lot of work into that paint job, and Z is showing it off tonight.
He was the fastest driver in practice. I believe he was also the pole sitter tonight, or he was third in qualifying, but he was the fastest driver in practice, and he's been able to keep it up front in the race. Pole sitter tonight was Todd Bellows, who we know has had a lot of speed, but after some incidents, he's still kind of mired back in 7th, trying to catch up to Francis there in the 55 and 6th.
Yeah, doing a good job of doing that, though. Last time by, made up about a half a second there on Nick Francis. So a couple more laps here. He should get to the rear end of that double nickel, and when he does, he's going to be ready to play. But look at Dave Jones there, rolling around. Smooth as a whistle. I haven't seen his hands move, Sky. I wish I was that smooth rolling around. I bet you his tires about near 100%.
I bet you his tires are loving him. They're doing exactly what he wants them to do because he isn't using them up, trying to steer it back and forth and rip it around the racetrack. Really smooth hands for Dave Jones, and that's going to help him later on in the run because once these tires start to go, if you can drive it really smooth, that'll really help your tire life, and it'll get you time later on cars like John Kaplan.
Yeah, going to be anxious to see here. Dave's going to get a good run, but is it going to be enough? He's getting closer, inching closer. He's peeking to the right. Now he's going to go back down to the left. He baited him into going up. Can he make it stick? He goes a little wide. He floats, but enough exit. He shuts the door, and Dave Jones up to P8.
Yeah, big move for him to get that 8th place position, and now he's going to look up the road. He's got 12 seconds up Todd Bellows, but for now, there is a lap car in front of him, that being Evan Cole, who is 1 lap down right now. Pit stops underway. Ryan Reyes, first car down at the halfway point, coming down from 14th.
Yeah, and Ryan just playing strategic here, being one of those first cars, you know, when he looked out the windshield, had 3 or 4 up the road ahead of him, and it's a lot easier to come in and pit if you're confident in your driving ability. Go out there in clean air and make up the time, try to undercut these drivers, and that's exactly what we're seeing the 16 car of Ryan Reyes do. But this guy may backfire here as he's pulling out. Well, no, it's going to be okay as the leader, Z Wong, rolls on by.
Yeah, he'll come out a lap down, but I anticipate that it won't take too long to get that lap back once those cars in front of him pit. This is a one-stop race. Everybody needs to come down. Reyes is just the first, coming down at halfway to try to split it in half. Next car down is going to be Jonathan Kuo from 3rd, and I imagine now that we're past halfway, I think we're going to see a lot of cars kind of come down from here.
There we go, student driver. I wonder if how much that costs, Sky. Maybe I can get a ride in that thing one of these weeks.
Now, if I went to driving school and they had a Porsche 911, dude, sign me up.
No kidding, man. That'd be a blast. But you talked about starting to shake up now. Drivers coming down pit road, and if you're pitting this early, Sky, I know we talked a little back and forth earlier. Let's take a look. That was 26 seconds. We saw a 54-second pit stop. So some drivers are just doing the gas-only strategy. John joining that party, only 26 seconds, just the gas and go.
I wonder who's going to be the next car to come down. That's going to be the question. Is it going to be one of those cars like Z Wong up there who's leading this race? Because I have to imagine if someone up front comes down, that is going to be where a lot of people start to follow. It's Joe Klutz in the pit lane right now, along with Patrick Aguirre, both making pit stops. Robert Baines also coming down. So it seems to be mostly cars who are running further back, making these pit stops right now.
Yeah, you know, I think if you're Z out front, I mean, last lap he just ran a 1:44.6, fastest lap of the race. So As we mentioned, the lighter that thing gets on gas, the faster it's going to be around the straightaways here and at the Daytona road course. That's, a third of the place. You're just hammered down, turning left, and the lighter the load, the faster you're going to go. I think if you're out front, you just go until that thing is running on fumes.
Yeah, for sure. Matt Robinson also making the turn down pit road in that 25 car. One of the higher up cars to pit. I believe he was running in 5th at the time entering the pits. So a couple cars all trying to come down, play some strategy around halfway, and get it out pretty quickly. Most pit stops we're seeing are kind of in the range of 23, 24 seconds, pretty consistent. A lot of just taking gas and then going.
Yeah, kind of expected the gas and go here as you see Matt Robinson. He's getting ready to roll off, and now right behind, or not right behind him, but the position behind him, Jonathan Kuo. They both pitted, so Matt, with the better job on and off pit road, made up some time and able to get in front of Jonathan.
Yeah, he's gotten a little more than some time. He's picked up 4.5 seconds on that 80 car, so the pit stop worked really well for the 25. David Sauntry, Ben Whitehurst, next 2 cars into pit lane, and we'll see where they cycle out because they were running mid-pack.
Yeah, and that's where you see, drivers will learn throughout the year. You think, well, this P2 here dives into pit road. It can make or break your race, Sky. If you're too easy going into the pits, or we all know if you're a little too fast, you get that drive through and got to drive on through the pits. That can cost you your whole week.
Oh, for sure. And here's a leader coming in, Sylvester Connie, who was running up front in 2nd place, making that turn down pit road. First car in that kind of lead pack of Wong and Connie to come down. Hopefully he can have a quick pit stop and he can get that thing out pretty well. Good pit stop for Ben Whitehurst, getting out in only 18 seconds. That'll get him some time.
Yeah, and that's the benefit too, Sky. If you're gas only here, the less you gotta add at the end, that's the better. So try to run as long as you can, only add a couple gallons here, and you're gonna be in the pits for a shorter amount of time. And those seconds really add up on the racetrack. Is watching Todd Bellows and Nick Francis battle for third, or what would be third here, even though they haven't made their pit stops yet.
John Kaplan also coming into the pits, so we're about half of the field has come down and half of the field has not come down at this point in time. Wong opened up a 22-second lead, mostly because no one behind him has pit yet, or everyone behind him has pit, and he is not, so he's kind of sitting out there alone. Or Francis Bellows, all cars who have not made that turn down pit road yet. First car who has pit is 5th. It's Sylvester Connie in the 14.
And we've seen Bellows get aggressive here. Does he think about making a move as he goes into the bus stop? Too far back, gonna stay in line, but it's all about the exit here. What kind of run can he get going down the long straight here before they dive into turn 1? Will he make a move for third, or Sky, do one of these two dive down pit road?
Wouldn't be surprised if we see it, because we're pretty far into the pit window right now. This is a time where you can definitely make that pit stop, and we'll see. No, none of them coming in. It's going to be a draft move around the outside of that 55 car for Todd Bellows in the 515 car. He'll peek to the outside going through turn 1. We'll see what he can do. Good run through the corner. Side by side on exit, and Francis is going to hold the spot for now.
And this is where if you're Bellows, you're going to wish, hey, maybe I should have, never mind, big move, big send. He's going to get it to stick. I thought he was going to get stuck in line, Sky, and say he was going to wish he pitted that last time, but Bellows drives it in and moves into that final podium spot for now.
Had a whole pack of cars come down last time around. Dave Jones, Neil Faulkner, and Donald Manning were all running kind of in a pack, about within 4 seconds of each other. They're all in the pits now. They were going to be 8th through 10th right now. We'll see where that cycles out once they get done with these pit stops. John Tavs running a little bit behind him, also coming into the pits. There's only a couple cars left who have not made their first pit stop. Obviously, you have Wong in the lead, Kevin
Here he
Orr,
comes.
Todd Bellows, and Nick Francis, also Chuck Allendorf. Donald Manning still out.
Yeah, right on cue, Sky. Right as you said, the leader, Z pulls into pit road, and we see him rolling down. It's going to be one. It's so important here to nail your stop. He's got to get in the pit box.
Gets in there pretty well. We'll see if these cars behind him come down. Kevin Orr, let's find out. He is also going to come down, so Kevin Orr in the pit lane. Looking further back, next car out would be Todd Bellows approaching from third. That car will also come down the pit lane, and I believe that will finish the cycle of stops because Nick Francis will also make the hard left turn down. Everybody has pit now from Daytona.
Yeah, blackjack was the lucky number. They could go 21 laps, it looked like, and Sylvester Canny, he was that guy who would pit. Obviously, Z, he's able to hold on to the lead. He's off of pit road, but Sylvester back into P2. The early pit stop didn't hurt him.
No, but Z Wong is still way out in front, open to a 15-second gap back there to Connie in second. He's going to need a hero drive over these next 21 minutes if he stands any chance of catching up to that 521 car, who's just seemed undefeatable today. Orr's back there in third. Kuo, having a bad pit stop, has gone back to fifth, and that has promoted the 25 car of Matt Robinson up to fourth right now. Todd Bellows will roll out sixth. Nick Francis will roll out in seventh. And then finishing out the top 10 will be Neil Faulkner, John Kaplan, and then Jones there in the 64, Dave Jones.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the top 10 that necessarily didn't start there. Well, at least in the back half. We've seen a lot of the people in the top 10 moving up. Todd Bellows, he had started on the pole. He's the only one really in the top 10 that's lost any spots here today. So if you started outside of the top 10, Sky, it may have been a good night for you.
Yeah, Nick Francis has been a big mover. He started at the back end of the top 10 in 10th, but with some good pit stops and some good speed, has worked that car up to 7th. Neil Faulkner started 14th up to 8th. Kaplan started 16th up to 9th. There's a couple cars who started kind of far out back. Kevin Orr among them started 5th and has gotten up to 3rd, but who have made moves to get themselves into the top 5, into these higher up positions.
They're the 14 machine diving into turn one. I'm pretty good here, Sylvester. This is where, Sky, if you're by yourself, you know, you're probably not going to make up that gap, but how hard do you push the car? Do you go out here and try to pick up any time, or you're just trying to hold on to P2? What's your mindset?
I think Connie is going to be informed by the fact that Z Wong is a B-class driver and Connie is an A-class driver. That is going to play a role into it because we heard earlier with the interview, these guys are racing for kind of separate trophies at the end of the series. So if you're the first A-class driver and you've got a 15-second gap to the second A-class driver, as much as winning the race would be really nice, go get your win in class, go get your points in the A-class championship, and try to make that run at the end of the season.
You might have to tell him that, Sky, because if you take a look at that comparison, he picks up 7/10 there in Sector 1. Everybody wants to take home that top step here at the end, whether it's, you know, another class or not. Those bragging rights, when you're a racer, they mean everything. He's on the move.
Has gotten 7/10 of a second over those last two sectors. Kind of an uncharacteristically bad lap for Z Wong, who we've seen be so dominant over the course of this race, pulling out to a 15-second lead and just kind of getting away from everybody else. He's really set the tone from third, and he has not looked back since he first got that lead a couple laps into this.
And speaking of third, you know, Kevin Orr able to hold on to it for a lot of the race here, but Matt Robinson, we talked about that black car. He's on the move. He's up in the top 5, 4th. Can he flirt with getting to that final podium spot here? Is Sky, you know, we step into the night. We had an hour. We're running out of time. Little over 18 minutes left to play at the beach.
The end, it wasn't a great lap for Kevin Orr. It was a really good lap for Matt Robinson, and that allowed Robinson to pull up a second on Orr last time around. We'll see if he can do that this time, if he can gain any positions, or if he can gain any time in these sectors to try to get up to Kevin Orr, but he's definitely inching closer. We'll see how this shakes out. It was also a pretty bad lap for Z Wang last time around because Connie was able to gain 1.2 on that 521 car.
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, and maybe lap traffic involved, because as we take a peek back at that leaderboard, back to a 15.2 second interval. So you got to wonder, maybe Z got the tires a little hot the lap before, just wanted to let them cool off, and well, now he's ready to go right back at it because the speed is still there.
Yeah, right now we're watching that 11 machine. This is a lap car running 20th. Chuck Allendorf making his way around the racetrack right now, coming out back onto the oval. Been a little bit of a rough race for him. We've seen him involved in some incidents early on and having some internet issues there as well, which are certainly not helping him. But he's making clean lap times right now. He's gotten it settled down, and he's hoping that if he just runs consistent laps, maybe he can pick up some spots on some of these other novice class guys in front of him, like Baines and Aguirre.
Yeah, and speaking of just not being your night, right behind him, I mean, Brad Dunn, he had a decent qualifying effort, qualified P12, but just fell off there, looped it around twice, but trying to work his way back into the top 20 and not too far up the road. We'll have to see if that checkered board can get himself back into the top 20.
Yeah, another one of those faster lap cars. He is catching up to Allendorf. Allendorf kind of running below the yellow line there. That plaid car has gotten himself within a second in that battle. Also within a second is the 25 car Robinson. He's a little slower than Kevin Orr last time around, but he's still gotten that gap down pretty nice. He might have something for the 36. He can just run consistent laps.
Yeah, or Matt just put the big boy pants on too and made a big move past the Bucky's car and another lap car. He knew he couldn't afford to lose any time. He can see that 36 out the windshield, and it was do or die. He wants to talk to us at the end of this thing, Sky.
Yeah, he is driving for a spot on that podium. He's got 15 minutes left to go get it right now, sitting in fourth. It's a pretty big gap between a lot of these positions up front. It's 16 seconds from Connie to Wang. It is 13 seconds from Orr to Connie up there in second, and then Matt Robinson kind of hanging out 1.7 back now of Orr, as Orr has continued to pull out some time on that 25 car, extending the lead back away from Matt Robinson.
Yeah, I think our closest battle on track, and it is because Reyes just sent it in. He passes for P9. Him and Kaplan were going back and forth for a little bit, but Reyes gets the best of him. He's going to sacrifice this exit speed, though, and if Kaplan wants about it, or wants to, Sky, he can think about a big send going into the bus stop.
We're going to find out. He will peek to the inside here, but he'll think better of it for now. Pull back in the line in that 2-car. 16 of Reyes. Pretty good line through that chicane, and that should take him away from the 2 of John Kaplan. He's now going to have his sights set 2 seconds up the road on that 54 car of Neil Faulkner. Reyes currently the 3rd highest B-class driver in this race behind Wang and Matt Robinson.
Now, being a little far back there, Sky's probably not going to make the move, but how much are you just trying to rattle that person's cage a little bit? Dip the headlights down low, get them thinking, maybe force the guy ahead of you into a mistake.
Well, yeah, you've definitely got to always fight for it. You want to be aggressive. You want to make them know that you're there, because if the driver in front feels like they're under pressure, they'll be more likely to make a mistake. Kaplan's kind of fallen out of range. I think Reyes is really starting to pull away from him right now. That gap is up to 1.5 between the 16 and the 2, and the gap is rapidly closing because of a bad lap by Neil Faulkner in the 54.
Yeah, we caught on board there the 6. Klutz gets a run around Santry. Not too sure if Santry maybe had a slow down penalty. He did not have the speed there coming out of the bus stop, and it seems to be right back with him now, but Santry doesn't get on it here, he's going to have another car behind him, but that's going to be a lap car as Ben Whitehurst, currently 17th. He's away back the road, so Dan, if he wants to get up there and battle with these two, he's going to have to pick it up here running out of time.
Reyes has gotten that gap down to half a second on Faulkner in the 54 car. He is really quicker. He's not close enough to make a send into the bus stop, but if he can get speed out of here, the draft is going to let him do it through these oval corners. They're basically a straightaway here because you're flat out the whole way through, just like you are if you were to run a NASCAR stock car here. And he's got the draft. The slipstream is in progress. That gap is down under 0.2 of a second for 8th.
Yeah, I mean, he qualified in the top 5 for a reason, and he's one of only 2 drivers to be in the 144s here in race trim as he takes a peek to the outside. Will he send it in deep into turn 1, or will he get on the brakes early? The answer is he sends it in. Car on the inside out brakes and a little crossover. Reyes on up to P8.
Big move for him. He'll just be looking to get away from Faulkner right now because it's a big gap. 22 seconds up the road from Reyes to Nick Francis there in the 55. So he's got a ways to go. He would probably need a mistake out of one of those cars in front of him if he were to catch up to them. But for now, in 8th right now, he's probably going to be driving with the car behind him. This is a battle further back. Now it's Manning in the 28 taking a look up the inside of Kaplan there in the 2. 28 of Donald Manning takes that spot away, and John Kaplan falls outside of the top 10.
It's always a fight to get inside of that coveted top 10, and Manning really drove it in there, made it stick, but Kaplan with a good run there coming out of the left-hander, and will he think about playing some mind games? Does he have a run here to shoot low into the bus stop? Let's find out.
He's definitely got the slipstream going, which is gonna help. He'll peel off to the inside of Manning, thinks better of it, goes straight back in line, and he won't try to make the move this time. He lost a lot of time down that straightaway, broke way earlier than the 28 of Manning did, and that's gonna hurt his run out. He's gonna need to stay in the draft of that 28 car if he wants any hope of doing anything. Maybe not into turn 1, but down into turns 2 or 3. I don't think he's gonna have enough slipstream to get alongside by the time we reach turn 1, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the gap is just a little too far. It was a very cautious entering the butt stop, but here he comes. He's got a big run. Does he send it up the inside? He looks low, but Manning shuts the door. Maybe Kaplan locks those brakes up a little bit. We saw him slide in the center of the corner, and now Sky, that coveted slipstream, if he doesn't make up some time here, he's not going to have it going down the backstretch.
Who was that car that was backwards in turn 1? That was Brad Dunn. Brad Dunn got in an accident with the 11 of Chuck Allendorf, racing for position 1 lap down. I don't know if we can get a replay on that, but that sent Brad Dunn pretty hard into the inside wall where he sat as the leaders passed him by.
Yeah, and diagnosing this here, Brad goes pretty wide, but when he cuts in, Chuck gives him plenty of room, and as we're going to see here, Sky, they're going to make some contact, and boy, they both go around here, and that was at a tricky spot. Look at the track awareness there, the 51 to get on through.
Robert Baines just had to sneak through. So did another lap car of John Chimples there in the 357. Barely making his way through that accident. We're going to go side by side here. This is the 64 of Jones lapping that 241 of Brad Dunn. Probably going to have some tire issues there with that big spin, and he's running high, just letting cars go around him, trying to stay out of the way of these leaders.
Yeah, you know, you get all that dirt and debris on them, especially after the newest update. It's really neat. You can see the dirt and gravel get thrown around, but you got to work that wheel around. You got to rub it off those tires, and if you don't, you're not going to have any grip on those sneakers when you try to step on the throttle coming in out of the center of the corner.
8 minutes left in this race right now. We're watching that second place car still, Sylvester Connie. He's had pace, but he just doesn't have anything for Z Wong, who has pulled out an 18-second lead right now. He's ran the fastest lap of the race, as you mentioned. One of only 2 cars, along with Reyes, to get down into the 144s today. It's 18 seconds back to Connie in second, and it is 15 seconds from Connie back to Orr in third. Robinson hasn't gone away yet, but the gap is still a second for that final spot on the podium.
Definitely close enough to, and as we see a car go around, Manning able to drive through it. Couldn't tell who that was, couldn't see the car number, but able to get out of the racing line there through that right-hander. That was a good job of bouncing to the inside there, Sky.
For sure, gonna get a little bit of a V-speed replay right now. This is the 28 of Donald Manning. Gonna go down into the hairpin. Oh yeah, that's in front of him. That's Allendorf around in the 11 right there up in front. So there's your V-speed replay. Watching back with Manning. Up here is Sylvester Connie right now in second. Got a little bit of info on this driver. He's 34 years old. Born in Albania. Came to the United States at age 7. He's a huge Ohio State fan, so I'm sure he'll be watching that game tomorrow. And he's completed real driver's ed courses at Mid-Ohio, Indianapolis Speedway as well. Driver who's kind of getting into it in real life as well as in sim. Favorite Porsche car in iRacing is the 911.
Sylvester, man, he's having a great run. And I never, Sky, I meant to bring it up earlier. I always turn this off in my car settings. It always bugged me when you're riding around one of these GT3s. Do you leave the neon glow on in the in-car? It always bugged my eyes. I can't
lighting.
do it.
Smooth lighting.
I respect it. Maybe that's why I'm just too tense out there. Maybe I need to turn them back on.
You need the purple vibes. Lavender lighting helps out.
Yeah, and speaking of turning it back on, let's take a look here at that battle for third. It's down to half a second. Matt Robinson right there, and close enough now that Kevin's probably going to start peeking up in that rearview mirror a little more than he'd like to.
He's definitely getting closer. He's got the draft, which is going to really help him. 6 minutes to go. Tries a little bit of a lunge, but doesn't quite have enough. He's still right there. I think with 5 minutes left to go in this race, he's got the time to make the move if he can pull up to that back bumper, or going a little wide to try to get the cutoff out of the corner. Doesn't work though. Losing time to Kevin Orr.
Yeah, it's still close enough though that maybe set his fangs in here, coming to the 5 minute mark. So you don't want to do anything to lose your shot. You don't want to drive in too hot. He almost did, but he's going to arc it in wide, hit the apex a little late, get a good drive off. And this is where you need to make up time, Sky. You need to be back on the gas before the man in front of you, and Matt just not able to do it this time.
No, hasn't quite been able to get there, but again, he's going to have that slipstream down the straightaway, which is going to help him get that run down towards the back chicane. We'll see what he can do as we come up on a lap car up the road. That's Klutz in the 16, who might throw bit of a chaos element into this here. Robinson's close. He's going to try to get the run out of the corner. Not there. He'll lose time, and he'll need that slipstream to help him. The only issue is Orr is now getting the slipstream off Klutz, which is kind of evening it out.
Yeah, and Robinson's going to hope that Klutz lets him by as well, because if not, it looks like Kevin's in a good spot to be able to go by here, maybe on the entrance of one. That's not what Matt wants to see. He wants to get by at the same time. If he has to put up a fight, this could cost him a second or two.
No, and he runs way wide there for Robinson. Gonna lock it back down, but that costs him a lot of time because he hasn't been able to get around the 6 car right there of Joe Klutz. He really needs to get it here. He'll stick the car up the inside of the 6, but he's lost a whole second to Orr, and Klutz is trying to fight back on the outside. He'll let the 25 go though now. 1.6 seconds is the gap for third. Robinson gonna need a big drive to get there.
Yeah, I think Joe really did try to let them both by in one, but when Matt overdrove the entrance, there was nowhere for him to go. He was already up on the top shelf and had to get in the brakes. And now you got to think, with 2, maybe 3 laps here left, Sky, He may have just watched all the sand run out of the hourglass there. He's going to have to make a big charge.
Yeah, there's only 3 minutes left. This is another battle a little further back. This is for 9th and 10th. It's Neil Faulkner right behind that 28 car of Donald Manning right there. This gap is down under half a second. Faulkner was slower last time around, so I think it might have been Manning getting away from that 54 car. We'll see if Faulkner can get back up to him here and try to make a move happen with just under 3 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, he's right there. You just don't want to make that mistake and drive in too deep. And well, there you see Don. This is the apex a little bit. Drives off up on the top shelf. And Neil able to make up a little more time here. And that just means he's going to get that much more slipstream. I still don't think it's close enough here. As you're looking at that gap, definitely not close enough. But maybe if he gets a good run out of the bus stop, Sky, he can think about a big send here going into turn one. He's running out of time.
Yeah, that's what I think he would need to do, is get a really big run out of the bus stop, because otherwise I don't quite see how he's going to be able to make that move stick with only 2 minutes left in the race. He did do better under braking, which is certainly going to help him out. We'll see if that actually translates to time on exit. It will not. Gap stays about even, and his slipstream disadvantage is going to be negated because Manning has caught the slipstream of the lap car of Evan Cole up in front.
Yeah, and will we see another repeat of what we saw a couple laps ago between 4th and 5th? We're going to catch this lap car at an awkward spot, and Neil's going to need all the help he can get here. If Don gets by, he's going to need to hook up and latch onto that train here.
Yeah, gap's still under half a second here. Laps winding down. I think we're only going to have about 2 to go here. Once Z Wong catches the start-finish line, 20's going to run a little wide. That'll allow Manning to get up to the inside. You're looking at that 521 car because the white flag is out for Z Wong. One more time around, and that 521 car will be able to take the checkered flag here tonight. 17-second gap back to Sylvester Connie. It's been domination.
Yeah, it really is, and you can just see using every inch of the racetrack, really floating up on exit. And well, that means he's stepping in the throttle early. He's not babying it. He's really being aggressive, and being able to run this hard out front, it shows the confidence he has in this Porsche. And man, everybody, you get used to seeing this name. This is going to be a long season. He put everybody on alert.
We might have something going on back here for third. Robinson, oh, never mind. Robinson had that car down. Or actually, he has gotten the car down because Orr's just run wide. Okay. Orr went wide through the corner. The gap was down at 0.4 of a second. Orr had a really good entry, but he messed up the exit, and that let Matt Robinson get through to steal third away through turn 3. Back up front, Z Wong is headed to the bus stop. Now it's flat out to the line for the 521 car.
He's going to roll through what's known as turns 3 and 4 here at the Daytona International Speedway in the 521. He's going to decorate this thing here with a win sticker, Sky. The checkered flag flies. Z Wong takes home your season 13 race number 1 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Sylvester Canny rolling around here looking to get P2, but right now we're watching Kevin Orr, or it's now we roll back up to P2. My apologies. There he goes. Matt Robinson. He looks up in the mirror. We may have a battle for third here at the line, Sky.
Yeah, Orr's got the slipstream. They're blocking back and forth. Orr's going to go down onto the apron. They're blocking. Orr is through the grass, and it'll be Matt Robinson for P3.
Man, all's fair in love and war and racing, and when you're coming to the checkers, you gotta make that rear bumper wide. That's what Matt Robinson does. But Jonathan Kuo brings home 5th. Todd Bellows, after an eventful race, coming home 6th. Nick Francis rolling around here, about to cross the line. He's gonna bring it home 7th. As Neil Faulkner, you're watching roll through the bus stop. He's currently 10th. See Manning in front of him. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to make a move here, Sky.
No, I don't think he will, so it will be the 28 car there of Manning getting around for 9th. It'll be Neil Faulkner bringing it home in 10th tonight. And then one car left on the lead lap who has not come down, and it will be John Kaplan in the 2, your last finisher on the lead lap in 11th tonight.
What a treat. Did you ever think we could see such good Porsche racing at Daytona? I mean, the guys kept it clean, and we saw a guy out front really get to lay the lumber here and show his speed.
He did. It was a great race for him to be able to take home that top spot. Sylvester Connie second, Matt Robinson barely stole the last spot on the podium and was able to take 3rd.
I think we're gonna step away here for a minute, V-Speed, and we're gonna be right back with some interviews and highlights, so stick around.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back live here for the PCA Sim Racing week number 1 here at Daytona. And as you saw, we were really treated with a great race here tonight. And I think we're going to take a look here at the finishing order. I'm going to send you your top 10, and then we'll let Sky close it out. But Z Wong here with an outstanding race here, week number 1, bringing it home by almost 18 seconds over P2 Sylvester Cannon. Matt Robinson rounding out the podium. Kevin Orr, P4. Jonathan Kuo, P5. Todd Bellows, 6th. Nick Francis, 7th. Ryan Reyes, 8th. 9th, Donald Manning. And rounding out the top 10, Neil Faulkner.
Last car on the lead lap tonight, John Kaplan in 11th. Dave Jones in 12th. John Tabbs in 13th. Dennis Lynn brings it home 14th. Ben Whitehurst in the 970 in 15th with Joe Clute 16th and David Sauntry 17th. Patrick Aguirre finishes 18th. Robert Baines 19th. Last car in the top 20 will be Chuck Allendorf in the 11. And rounding out your field tonight will be Brad Dunn, Evan Cole, Keith Markison, John Chimples, and Steve Schneider in 25th.
I think we're waiting, our leaders waiting down in the waiting room here. We'll see if we can bring Z up and get a word with him. Hey Z, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yep, I can hear you.
Well, I mean, how did that race car feel tonight? Because it did look like a Porsche, Z. It looked like a Porsche. It looked like a rocket ship, man. That thing was quick.
Yeah, the car feels great. It's I think the setup's pretty balanced and pretty good, decent speed and everything.
Yeah, you got the lead there after the 2 cars who were in front of you kind of got into it. What was going through your mind when you drove around that?
I think, when I see those 2 fighting each other, I'm like, something might happen. You never know what exactly going to happen, what's going to play out. So I kind of took a little bit precautious, so I went a little bit offline, as you can see, and then, and then they just happen to come together. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the inside and hopefully, I'm not gonna get take out. And I'm glad that it worked out. So yeah, it's a good opportunity. It's just like, qualifying is a little bit like made a little bit too much mistake, missing out on the pole position. So it's just like, stay back, be patient, and just let the thing pan out. And that, as you can see, it worked out. So perfect.
You come in here with that B rating, Z. I mean, how good does it feel to finish at the top and bring home the checkered flag week number 1?
I mean, it's definitely a special feeling. I mean, I didn't come in as like a complete noob. I mean, I played iRacing quite a while, and I also do some like a high performance driving education in real life. So, so I think it just like not totally unexpected. We did a lot of practice, so we kind of know what each other's plays are. So it's totally not. It's not like completely coming off guard, but it's just like it's still a very special feeling.
Anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
I mean, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone. I mean, it's a pretty decent, clean race. And the back markers, the lap cars are very courteous, like, respecting the blue flags. I love to thank the, Mike for giving, fantastic instruction for the past 2 weeks. So, yeah.
All right. Well, congrats on the win tonight, Z Wong.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, and with that out of the way, that was really a great race tonight here for the PCA at Daytona. A lot of action, great battles really throughout the track, especially for the last spot on the podium. What did you think, Shaggy?
I mean, good racing all over. We saw some strategy come into play, and we saw guys maybe pit a little early to try to move up through the field, and it didn't work out. So maybe next week, they run that thing to full fuel load and try to do what those guys did up front. But I'll tell you what, PCA, I know they're excited. Princess Cruise is around this year. It is going to be a great season here, Sky.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great series here with the PCA coming up over the next few weeks, really. You want to close this out, Shaggy?
Yeah, on behalf of everyone here at V Speed, I mean, I'd just like to thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you enjoyed the show here with me and Sky tonight. As always, can't do this without our producer, DJ Lion. I mean, who doesn't love this show? Porsche Club of America. We appreciate you having us, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a good evening. We're signing out.